Hello YouTube and welcome back to Be a Loser. In this video we answer the question, can women fast? Personally, I think the question, can women fast, is pretty obvious. Yes, of course. Hopefully it's becoming more obvious as we continue through this series that pretty much anyone and everyone can fast. Unless, of course, you're one of those individuals who fall in the category of those who should not fast. And for the purposes of this video, that would be any woman who is pregnant or breastfeeding, as well as anyone, including a woman, that is malnourished. That last one we'll discuss shortly. But otherwise, of course, women can fast. Fasting first appeared in the medical literature over 100 years ago. It was considered a safe, harmless, and effective method for reducing weight of those suffering from obesity. Additionally, as we've previously discussed, fasting has been used by almost every religion for several thousands of years. And in both cases, women were obviously involved. So I think the real question we're wanting to answer here is not so much can women fast, but should women fast? A lot of this fear is obviously the standard fear-mongering that we've covered, especially in the misconceptions video. But some of it may well stem from an article written on a paleo diet blog in 2012 that stated, "Intermittent fasting in women. Should women fast? The few studies that exist point towards no." Well, that statement seems completely outlandish to me, as everything I've ever read points to the opposite. In fact, Dr. I.C. Gilliland conducted a study during the fasting revivals of the 1950s and 60s for reducing obesity. This study was comprised of 46 subjects, of which 32 were women. And the first thing they were required to do was a 14-day regimen of absolute fasting, which means only water, tea, or black coffee. That in and of itself is pretty cool, because I'm sure if you tell someone today that you haven't eaten for 24 hours, they look at you like you've got 3 heads or a screw loose. But I digress. So how many subjects actually completed this insanely long fast by modern lines of thinking? 44 out of 46. One developed nausea and one decided against it and dropped out of the study. So that's a 96% success rate. Pretty nice considering Eat Less, Move More has a 98 to 99% failure rate. And the best part, 2 subjects requested to be readmitted for another 14-day fast. I don't think they'd do that if they'd been miserable. And that's pretty typical too. Most people don't think they can fast, but once they do it, they realize that it's pretty simple. And did those subjects lose weight? Do you even have to ask? Average weight loss over the 14-day fast was 17.2 pounds. Now, some of this weight was put back on as it was water weight, but that's normal. So don't be discouraged if you see slight weight gain after a prolonged fast. It's not an indication that the fast failed. Sadly, the subjects were instructed to follow a diet that severely restricted calories after the fast. And as you can imagine, this was a disaster. You can watch my series on weight gain to get a better understanding of that. But let's focus on the positives of the prescribed 2-week fast. Well, first off, there were 3 patients in the study that were type 2 diabetics. After the 2-week fast, they were all off of insulin. Be sure to watch my T2D series for more information on that. One patient was suffering from severe congestive heart failure, and after the fasting period was able to walk without breathlessness. Fasting is just simply the most powerful and natural of all remedies. Okay, but was it difficult? Well, Dr. Gilliland describes feelings of well-being and euphoria. Okay, but were they hungry? Nope. He said, "We did not encounter complaints of hunger after the first day." Now remember, the majority of the subjects in this study were women, and they suffered no ill effects from the fast and all of the benefits. Dr. Gilliland also stated, "We did not reach anorexia." I'd like to take a moment to discuss fasting and eating disorders. I would assume that that's a prevalent fear for some women when considering fasting, and most likely some men as well. First off, remember that fasting does not necessarily mean reducing how much you eat, but simply when you eat. As I've stated before, you should feel free to eat until you are full during your eating periods. Second, anorexia and eating disorders are actually psychological disorders of body image. The caloric restriction and excessive exercise imposed is driven by these psychological cues. Third, even religions that mandate fasting will allow individuals who are malnourished, as I stated before, to be exempt. They also allow anyone who is ill to be exempt. So if you know that you have an eating disorder, then I encourage you to seek treatment and exclude yourself from fasting. And finally, there is a study that concludes that intermittent fasting does not lead to eating disorders. There's, of course, a link in the description. So my advice is to know yourself and understand what intermittent fasting is and make your own decision about whether or not it's for you. And one last thing, amenorrhea or loss of period is a common concern as well as a symptom of severe eating disorders. This is caused by body fat being too low. So, if you are suffering from amenorrhea, then you should not fast. And if at any point amenorrhea occurs, then you should stop fasting immediately. Okay, so moving on. Another researcher, Dr. Ernst Dreisig, studied therapeutic fasting in 1964 as well as in 68. His study consisted of 6 men and 4 women. And did it work? Well, of course it did. And from my personal experience, if you've watched my channel introduction, you already know this. My wife fasted for 6 weeks and lost 22 pounds and felt the best she had in years. Just remember that there are standard side effects to starting on intermittent fasting, but they affect both men and women. And the benefits of fasting affect them both too. Women have been included in almost every case study of fasting for 100 years. So if you're a woman and don't meet the criteria for those who should not fast, then I encourage you to feel free to try it. The benefits are simply too good to ignore. But if you still need a bit more convincing, there's an article on Ronda Rousey, the former #1 MMA fighter, and this article details how she ate a paleo diet, which is a form of LCHF, and followed the warrior diet, which we've discussed previously. It's a 20/4 diet of 1 4-hour eating window per day. Rousey has also gone on record that she previously suffered from bulimia. So last I checked, Ronda Rousey is a woman with a history of eating disorder, on paleo and intermittent fasting, and a professional athlete. And that will close this video. We'll be back soon with the next video in this series, so be sure to subscribe to get that. Or, of course, you'll be able to find it on the website, as well as be updated if you've liked us on Facebook. We're also now on Twitter, so if you want to follow us on there, you can. Be a loser today. And there are links to all of these in the descriptions of the videos. And congratulations to Nancy Jackson. You won the Be a Loser gear giveaway. You can send me a message by clicking the About tab on the YouTube channel and then the message button. Let me know if you want a hat or a shirt and your color preference, as well as the address where you'd like it shipped. Thanks to everyone who entered. Now, we've got a new end page that allows you to click the video links on your mobile device. So, you can click the top video for our weight gain playlist, or click the bottom video for our T2D playlist. And there are also clickable links to subscribe to the channel, as well as to visit our website. As always, thank you very, very much for watching. And until next time, keep being a loser.